All right, so Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. All right, you know Turki Allalshikh said they're open to the biggest offer. LA, New York, Vegas was some of the cities that he named about having the biggest offers for that particular fight. And now Canelo is telling reporters that it got to be in Vegas. Um, you know, it got to be in Vegas. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind if it was in Mexico, but it has to be in Vegas. I'm pretty sure one of the reasons that he agreed to do it in Vegas, and not Saudi Arabia, is because he already did Cinco de Mayo in Middle East. He Mexicans don't like going to New York. That's a fact. And what's so crazy about it is Canelo fought Rocky Fielding and never wanted to go back. So they don't like fighting. Make sure my mic on. I'm talking. Yeah, they don't like fighting in Vegas. Fighting in New York. They don't like fighting. Mexicans don't like going past the Mississippi for real. Mm-mm. You won't see, Philly, DC, New York, unless they're the B side. Ryan going to New York. I don't know why they dragged the first Devin Haney fight there. They went there. You rarely see the Times Square car was for the VIP, but you rarely see them go out east. And you got to think about it. Most of the time out east is the Puerto Ricans. That's where they make their name at. Most Puerto Ricans make their name out east. So you don't see it. I think the biggest win and one of the biggest wins in Mexican boxing history, especially probably since the turn of the century, which is 2000, was Andy Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua. So you really don't see that a lot. Really, once the particular fighters are from a coast, that's where they fight at. Andre Ward, the reason he fought Carl Froch in Atlantic City was because that was seen as mutual, even. It was seen as mutual, mutual. Well, I don't say mutual. I see it's even distance travel from the UK across the pond, from California to New York. So you really don't see you don't see the growth of the sport of boxing. Before I get into the particulars, you don't see the growth. I don't know how many of y'all, I keep telling y'all to watch the documentary about Hector Camacho on Showtime. It was fantastic. And he fought in fucking Alaska. Like boxing, ooh, that crack was wild. Boxing don't promote no more, bro. It's like they don't expand the promotion. You look at UFC, they're fighting Salt Lake City, and you don't notice the Saudis bought their sport too. Every time you look up, it's a card in Saudi. It's a card in Saudi. They're literally trying to buy combat sports and make it the hub for all sports. I'm telling you, I peep game. I peep game from the beginning, bro. My interest is always, if you give me all this money, what are you getting out of it? A lot of people, they don't think on that level. Just give me the money. I don't care. You sold your soul. You done sold your sport out. But nonetheless, not to get off topic. So you really don't see guys migrate outside they scope of support. You seen it. You see it with the Southern fighters. You see it with the Southern fighters because they don't really believe in the South as fighters. Remember James Toney? He had a vendetta against Southern fighters. Roy Jones put it on him. We're still a great fight. It's funny. Remember Roy? It's the thuggish, rugged ball. But they make them niggas travel. That need to be talked about. They never really tried to carve out a hub for Southern fighters. Like, really, the capital of Southern boxing should be Atlanta. That should be the capital of Southern boxing, in my opinion, right? So they'll make a Wilder come up to Brooklyn, and obviously everybody has to do the Vegas. It's like everybody wants to do the Vegas. A lot of people really felt that the mecca of boxing was really New York, but everybody don't want to do New York no more. That's crazy, right? It's crazy. Like everybody does Vegas damn near. Southerners, West Coast, obviously East Coast, Midwest. Everybody does the Southern. Everybody does that. But for the Southerners, Like, they make them travel. I don't think people really understand the geography about that. They make them travel. Whether it's Vegas, Waterfall in Vegas, Errol Spence fought in Vegas. They both fought in Southern California. You know what I'm saying? Waterfall in New York. They make them travel. I think people need to speak more on that. They make the Southerners travel. The Southerners don't get the respect in the sport of boxing that they should. Jack Johnson. I believe Kentucky, the Mason-Dixon line is considered the Southern, the South. Gervonta would be considered, they don't see them as the South, but they are the South. I'm not talking about them. They kind of see more East, but Muhammad Ali is from Kentucky. Jack Johnson. Tommy Hearns was by way from Detroit, but he was from Memphis. He was born in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? So, Joe Louis was born somewhere in Alabama, known as Detroit. But they make these, these guys travel around, and really the mid, if you want to know like the Midwest and the East, the Midwesterners for some reason, whether it's Pavlik or kind of that and Tri-Stat Brothers, Bernard, he had a great interview. I watched some of it. I watched the rest of it with Andre Ward. Indianapolis fighters, Ohio fighters, Michigan fighters, and Wisconsin fighters. They kind of hub is Atlantic City, used to be the boardwalk. You know what I'm saying? They used to kind of migrate more to Philadelphia because they right next door, and they used to have the Midwesterners kind of their hub or capital was Atlantic City. And in reality, Midwest can have a United Center, and Eddie Hearn tried something like that. It didn't really work. Cincinnati, Cleveland has arenas. Detroit has a bunch of them. Milwaukee, they had their own thing. Like, really, they just don't want to expand the sport of boxing. And a lot of it got to do with relationships and forming, but really, I think really somebody need to talk about how they make Southern fighters always have to travel. You know what I'm saying? And at one point, before I kind of get back to the Canelo thing, that's kind of gonna make my point. You see the Puerto Rican fighters for the most part. It's not a lot of them no more. They hub was New York. But the whole thing with Mexicans was when they get together and make a big fight with Puerto Ricans, it's like it has to be in Vegas. This is just to make us the capital. That's how they would get the Puerto Ricans to come from east to west. And when the Puerto Ricans had the juice, Trinidad, Bernard, they would make those guys come to New York. But Mexicans never want to go east. In the hot months and the cold, they never want to go east. You won't see too many A sides in Philly, DC, Barclays, MSG. You won't see it. They like, the Southwest, the Southwest, Vegas, Cali. That's where they feel comfortable at. But yeah, so the most part, Canelo said, I ain't fighting nowhere but Vegas. So the thing about if it's gonna be Vegas on a Saturday or Sunday or Friday, be interesting because UNLV is kicking off football then. You waiting right at the bridge of football season. Usually college start a week or two before the pros. So they gonna be fighting at Allegiant Stadium. Do they say we just do it on Saturday? We just do it on Sunday? So then what will be people's travel arrangement plans? Because usually if they did it on Saturday, usually you can fly in Friday or Thursday night, enjoy Vegas Friday, Saturday, and go home Sunday. My thing is, if that was the case, I'm more of it's a 4-hour flight from where I'm at. So I'm a fly in Thursday. I'm going to stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm probably going to leave Monday morning. If I choose to go, that's my little thing. Like, I'm not going nowhere a day or two. That's New York. You know what I'm saying? That's if I'm flying to New York, that's different. I'm flying to Atlanta, that's different. Them short flights. But I'm staying for four. I'm flying 4 hours. Fuck that. I'm staying for I'm staying for 3 days minimum. So, but that's just me and personally. So, Canelo's entitled to having the juice, and I don't think Crawford really care. Crawford love to fight in New York, Vegas, Cali. I don't know why he said it can't happen in LA. I think he has a loyalty to Vegas. You got to remember, Vegas love Canelo. They pushed they let the UFC go fight outside the MGM grid. They let them go to the Spear and let Canelo fight at MGM Grand, so because they couldn't have both. MGM owns a lot of property. I think they had a T-Mobile, the MGM Grand. What's the MGM Park? MGM used to be the Monte Carlo. So they own a lot of venues, Madeline Bay. So if you kind of go off the grid with them, it's really the Spear, the Thomas and Mack, the Cox Pavilion. They don't even do the Thomas and Mack no more. Remember, they used to be a venue on fight night. They don't even fight there no more. So that's the thing about it. So I think Canelo, they like, nigga, you gotta fight here. If you're gonna fight in the States and not fight in Saudi, we need you here. So I think that's the whole thing. But hey, it is what it is. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live and drop video. Hit the link in the description. You can follow me everywhere from X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.